Let's talk about AWRPG and ActiveWorlds. This is a niche thing that nobody's going to know. Um, this was kind of like a Second Life type of game. So ActiveWorlds was this virtual world kind of thing. And yeah, it was pretty much like Second Life, though I wouldn't be able to tell you what Second Life is like, but I think I only tried Second Life one time and bounced away from that for whatever reason pretty quickly. Um, but Active Worlds, I was active in that for quite a while. I don't know how long I spent. Um, but I was young. I must have been 12 or something. I guess this was 2002. I might be getting those dates wrong, but something like that. And initially, I was what they call a tourist in the, can we say game? It wasn't really a game, it was real, or it was a, a virtual world, not necessarily a game, right? But I was a tourist, which meant that I was playing for free. And the consequence for that was that, well, there were several. So Active Worlds, as the name implies, had a bunch of worlds that you could join. And some of the worlds were restricted to what they called citizens only. And for a long time, I couldn't get into the cooler worlds. And there was one, excuse me, one in particular that I was very interested in called AWRPG. So, I was 12, so I was bothering my mom a lot to become a citizen so I could join that world. And eventually I did. I think she was paying a bunch, right? It's not was not a cheap subscription, especially when you converted the currency. It was something like $12 a month. But I was playing that a lot, and amazingly, I got the citizenship, and I kept playing a lot. And when I joined AWRPG, I created a character called Eisenhart, and this was from Diablo. Name from Diablo. It was an item set in Diablo 2. It's like Eisenhart's shield, Eisenhart's armor, stuff like that. Eisenhart's greaves. I just stole that name and I joined. And my English wasn't great at this point, but I practiced a lot by being there because AWRPG wasn't just an RPG like RPGs these days, which are all about progression and killing monsters. No, there was some of that. So yeah, there was some progression, some killing monsters, but it was mostly about interactions, and you did that through text. So I had to really get good at English to participate in the community. And it was such a small community. Like, this was a niche thing even back then. Now nobody will know about it. And even then, people didn't know much about it. Um, but yeah, I was Eisenhart. There were 4 cities that the community gathered around. Um, there was Orda, which was kind of like this Roman inspired city. And you could walk around, you could go to the city and see the buildings. And the buildings were, a lot of them were community made, because one thing about ActiveWorlds is that you could you could build, not just move around the world. You could participate by building. And I don't remember building in AWRPG. I think only a little bit. At some point I had building privileges. But that was restricted, quite restricted to a few people. In an AWRPG, I moved around the cities, so I was captain of the guard of the city of Newa for a while, and I was captain of the guard of Orda, the Roman city. And I was an acolyte of a god in the city of Keoa. I think that was one of the very last things I did. And there was another city which I never joined. So one of them I never interacted with. And that was Zaya? Shia? I don't know. I called it Shia because that's how we pronounce the X here, but I think it's like Zaya or something. And people, like other players, had other roles. So they were mayors and kings and leaders, and mods were literally gods. They had this big 3D models. They would walk around. They were like 3 times the size of normal people, and they would like come up with some events, some things that would happen. Um, uh, like um, like little storylines sometimes, but it was rare. Mostly we as the players, we had to fend for ourselves, and we had to find the fun ourselves. It wasn't a very guided experience, and the experience was mostly just in the community, interacting with each other, and it was very, very fun. We were just a small bunch of people. And there were the forums, of course, where we interacted as well, not just in the game. People would post gossip, some kind of, what had been happening, what everybody was up to, like news. And I made a lot of friends through that experience, like online friends. It was very social thing. There were there were systems as well. It wasn't entirely social, so you could cast spells. I don't remember exactly how that worked, but I think you would like whisper the bot. There was a bot you had to whisper the bot what spell you wanted to cast, and then there would be some delay, and then a fireball would appear and would go out. There were like little monsters to kill with that, little dungeons. And it felt very active at the time. I guess there were ups and downs in the activity. And I honestly cannot remember how long I spent on that. Um, I really don't know. But there were like these cliques. So around each city, you would have like this, small social groups of people who liked interacting with each other and liked, role playing with each other. We were role players, man. Big role players. And that was the world that I participated in the most. Eventually, it just faded away. But of course, there were other worlds in ActiveWorlds. AWRPG was just another one. There were like hundreds and a bunch of people around them. And I did other things like I liked building. I liked the creative aspect of building. So even though I couldn't build in AWRPG, I would go to the worlds where building was free, and you'd just transport yourself to some um, random coordinate. You go to like 5,000 south and 3,000 east, and you like find a building. You'd go there and there would be a building, so you couldn't build on top of somebody else's build, and you couldn't delete their builds. So you'd have to walk around and become their neighbor, or if you and build close to them, or if you really wanted to be alone, then you would go to another coordinate and try your luck there, some more random number. And yeah, it was kind of like this. I guess it prefigured a lot of the games that became popular later on. So you had Minecraft creative mode and all of these creative games that are coming out recently where you just build and have fun. There was that aspect to it. And there was also the oh, I forgot what I was gonna say, sorry. But yeah, I would build. Building was fun. Um and that was probably one of the best gaming experiences of my life. And perhaps just one of the best experiences of my life in overall. So much fun. Yeah, and it's completely dead. You really can't find much information on AWRPG and ActiveWorlds, but it was great. All right. Um, I'm not done with the watercolor. I'll probably do some more work on it, but looks something like this. Okay, that's enough for today. Thank you.